My name is Dede. I got pregnant at 17. My senior year, I came home for lunch, and I walked in the house, and I turned to walk out. My mom said, "Are you pregnant?" And I could tell she had this look on her face, and I thought, she already knows. And I just nodded, yeah. And I mean, she looked like, oh, she could have shot daggers. I mean, it was, we just kind of stared at each other. And I said, "I'm meeting friends for lunch," I think and I just kind of, she said, "Just go." And I left, and she said, "We'll talk about it later." And I came back home after lunch, and Dad was there, and that's when we told him. I really thought that I had killed my daddy. I really did.
With a broken heart?
With a broken heart, I've killed him. This is my fault. I was 6 months pregnant when my parents found out that I was expecting. And when that happened, everybody kind of panicked and wanted to know what my plans were. And I really wasn't prepared to know even really what my options were. I had certainly thought about abortion. I thought that would be an easy way to hide it. But because of my age, I was not able to have an abortion without the parents' consent, which kind of was against the whole point of having one, to keep people from knowing.
I live 2 hours from my parents and Dede, and I get a call on a Sunday morning. And it's my dad. He's not an emotional person, and he said, "Your sister's pregnant," and started crying. And he said, "And she's going for an abortion tomorrow morning. We've scheduled one in Atlanta." I just started screaming on the phone. And Dad said, "Well, Jolie, it's not really what we want to do, but it's what's got to be done." And I just, thankfully, we had our Sunday school class at our apartment that time on Valley Drive, and people were arriving, and they're wondering why I'm in the state that I'm in. And they just immediately, we all prayed, and Dave and I got in the car and headed home. And so by the time I got home, when I walked in the door, Mom with an air said, "We're not getting an abortion. I won't do it. I know we're not supposed to do it." And so that was my first knowledge of it as well. And I had seen Dede, and she didn't look pregnant. The girl could still button her pants at 6 months pregnant, so just had no idea. I think the saddest thing was I walked in her room and sitting there by herself. And I saw her loneliness. I think a week later I called her and I said, "What have y'all decided to do? What are you going to," they knew they didn't want to get married. And she said, "Well, I'm thinking we'll look at adoption." And that's when I said, "Well, would you consider Dave and I?" And so then I think they talked for about 2 weeks, I think. And that's when Dede called, and she said, "We've talked, and that's what we want to do, is go forward with that." Mm-hmm. But Nathan was born July 29th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
2 weeks late.
A whopping 8 pounds and 14 ounces.
And 21 inches.
And he came out with a loud cry.
Yeah.
We were all on the other side of the door just listening. I think for us, Nathan's story is beautiful. It's powerful, of God's grace and mercy on our family.
The beautiful part to me would have been the first time you hold your firstborn and you see that baby and you know that life is precious and that you didn't destroy it. You had an opportunity to see it. I don't think that you can think you've made a bad decision after that. Even though I have always had a peace and known exactly he's right where he was supposed to be, even as he has gotten older, it has been at times been like, gosh, maybe I could have done that. Maybe I should have. But I'm very fortunate to go back and look at those decisions and say, no, he's right where he has to be, where he needed to be. And I'm still a part of that. And that's the good part.
Mm-hmm.